should I say hi? Hello, hi. How are you? Are you good? All right. It's a beautiful morning indeed, and I believe this morning is more filled with purpose and inspiration, as you can see. And yes, but before I can start, my name is Prince Aubakwe Papazo, the Boost LLC chairperson. And today I'm honored to be your master of ceremony for today's session, which is Ignite the Mic, public speaking empowerment session. But today I'm not alone with my beautiful sister here. Maybe she can introduce herself, then we kickstart.
Are we good? Are we excited? First of all, do we know what we're going to get out of today's event? Yes, all right. I see some of my students here. Some of you know me. I'm Ernestine Rimenchi, a TA currently. I'm doing my master's in computer science. Some background, I did my BSc here, in computer science as well. I was Minister of International Affairs, SRC 2022-2023. I'm also the defending champion of the Best Oral Speaker debate in Boost, waiting for someone to take that title. I also do MC events. I'm mostly known for MCing SRC debates. That's where you mostly see me. But yeah, great to see all of you. And I'm hoping that you take something meaningful, because there's so much you can do with your life when you are able to orate and articulate your thoughts clearly. So ask some questions, interact with the speakers we have. Just be free, okay? Thank you.
Today, we're just here to reassure you that not all the time, it's not all the time when you're going to feel like everything's gonna be okay, but sometimes you just need to step up, right? So we are blessed and we are honored to have wonderful speakers we're going to learn from. This is a gateway to leadership. Communication is very important. Presentations, class presentations, when you go for interviews, you're going to be tasked to speak. So you need to be able to articulate yourself well, to calm yourself down, and to have the tips on how to speak properly to people, right? So feel welcomed, right? Feel free. We're going to have a few engagements then there. This is for me and this is for you. We are learning, right? So I welcome you all, and let's ignite the mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe. That was very articulative of you. I'm now going to call the official remarks, which was supposed to be done by our Dean of Student Affairs, but in her place we have Mr. Jiba. Mr. Jiba, you are welcome.
Like the MC just said, I'm supposed to be standing up to be giving official remarks. And yet, in a special way, I wish to welcome our speakers, Dr. Labani. I believe most of you know Dr. Labani. She is one of our own here at the university. And we have Ms. Kealeboga. Ms. Kealeboga comes from Precision Vehicle and Asset Tracking Company. And one thing about Precision Vehicle and Asset Tracking Company is that it's a company 100% owned by Botswana citizens. It was founded by one of our own. It was founded by an alumni of this university. Maybe you didn't know. This gentleman is an alumni of this university. And I believe he's the first out of this university to go to parliament. He's a sitting parliamentarian right now. His name is Matalema Wanus. He's a member of parliament for Gangi, if my memory serves me right. He was a student here. So now you see why we are calling such people to come and talk to you. Because being a student is only transitional to bigger things that are coming your way. This will be the best years of your lives as a university undergraduate or even postgraduate student. And then you will use everything that you have learned at the university or during your time as a student at the university to live of that which you have created or learned when you were here. We still survive because of networks and friendships we started when we were studying. We still survive of lessons learned while we were still studying. We had anticipated that we would have another speaker, Mrs. Kebaneilwe Mbewe. She's a renowned advocate for especially gender matters that are topical these days, matters like gender-based violence. She would have come in handy to talk to you, all of you, not only the gentlemen, but the ladies, because I get to understand from the gentlemen that the ladies too, they grow violent on them sometimes. So we are here to ignite and talk about these topical matters, but at the most we are here to ignite our confidence. We are going to ignite our confidence to learn to stand up and speak like Mr. Jiwa is speaking. When he just learned that Mr. Masupe will not be speaking or the Dean of Students will not be appearing. I just learned it a while ago. If I were someone else, I would have just gotten sick or said, I can't. So we are here so that we ignite this thing in you to stand up and talk. Standing up and talk will get you out of many problems in your life. Because if you sit down and you don't talk, you will not be heard, you will not be a change agent. Because each one of us, however small or big they may look, they are brought into this world to be a change agent. There's something that you are going to give us before you leave. There's always something that we are going to be thankful for once we part with you, or once you part with us. We are going to say, but this is that we learned from this man, or this is that we learned from this lady. So feel free, engage as much as you can. We are getting to a point where now, very soon, we will be calling out elections for the SRC. We want to hear new voices. We want to hear new perspective about how we are going to live and be heard and make a difference in a community that we are in. Thank you very much, Director Selma.
Our next in the agenda is going to be our speaker. We are going to call the speaker, but it's very important that you understand that she has been under the wing of someone who has actually made it far with speech, okay? Mr. Jiwa mentioned that he was from this university, and now he's in parliament. This cuts across what we know, that we're not just about science and technology, we can actually move to be greater in different areas, okay? So she has learned from him, she has been mentored, and the company is actually very interesting. You know, he took the idea that we always get here, and they actually track cars. You know how they say that once a car is gone, you can't find it? They find it. And what is also quite interesting is they only work for 4 days. It's not, 5 days like how we know. It's a different kind of operation. She'll also tell you more about it. And she is the managing director in that company. So I'd like to call upon Ms. Kealeboga. Kaelo.
I am a student as well, because I mentioned. I am doing my master's degree in business admin. And one of the modules that we have done focuses on leadership. So we are supposed to be looking at what sets apart a 21st leader. What are the attributes that makes a 21st leader? So when you look at leadership in the past years and leadership now, you will notice that but eventually, and as time evolved, we are very much comfortable with interacting with our leaders in the workplace. So one thing that I've picked is that as leadership and communication evolves, there are certain attributes that do not go out of fashion. And one of those key attributes is communication. you need to be able to communicate as a leader. One thing that I've picked through my research as I was doing my assignment is that there are certain attributes that makes a leader, and some attributes do not expire, some attributes do not go out of fashion, and one of them is communication. You need to be able to communicate as a leader, and then communication is very crucial in leadership. Communication is very crucial in your professional growth, and those of you that are going, I assume you guys are aspiring to be leaders, right? I never do hand the thing, right? Yes. So communication, like I said, is very crucial for your professional growth, and for you to be an effective leader, you need to be able to communicate in such a way that people can hear you and understand you. Sometimes we cannot communicate that, but as a leader, you need to be able to articulate your vision clearly. I remember Precision had a board of directors at some point, and when I was suggesting to the board of directors that we need to implement the 4-day work system, I was supposed to communicate the vision in such a way that the board of directors would be convinced that this is something that we can take on. Remember now, I was saying you need to pay employees an extra day, yet they are not coming to work. So I needed to be able to articulate that vision in a way that would be understood, and in a way that I can convince the certain board members that indeed this would work. The only way you are able to articulate your vision is when you are able to communicate clearly, right? Yes. So when you are able to, when you are able to articulate your vision, you are cementing your position as a leader. You are also gaining trust from your team members. You are also able to motivate your employees or your teammates. Imagine having a leader who is not able to communicate. Would you be able to trust that leader? Would you feel motivated as a team member? You wouldn't. And then, one other thing that you need to understand when it comes to communication and effective communication, let us understand that this is not just communication we're talking about. We're talking about effective communication, being able to communicate effectively. Okay? One thing that you need to understand is when you are addressing a certain audience, your message has to be clear and very simple. There's this misconception that people have that as a leader, sometimes you, or most of the time, you have to show off by saying a lot of necessary jargons and terminologies just so people can think you're very smart. But that is wrong. Well, it's not wrong. You can do it. But what I'm trying to say to you is when you're communicating, you need to understand your audience. When I was asked to come and speak here, one question that I asked was, who is the audience? So that I can tailor-make my message for that particular audience. When you're communicating as a leader, you need to understand your audience. How do I meet you? Find out for who is sitting in that meeting so that you are able to tailor-make your message for that particular audience. It also comes down to you as students to say, when you are given an assignment, you need to, I'm assuming you guys have presentations in your assignments. Yes. When you are given an assignment to go and present on a certain topic, you need to understand if only your classmates or your lecturer are the only ones who are going to be sitting in that presentation, or you're going to be having other moderators as well. You need to understand all those things. And then the other thing that I want to share with you is communication is a two-way street. I was communicating with my two friends then. I gave them a chance to speak and listen. So as a leader, as an aspiring leader, you need to understand that it's unnecessary. You need to give yourself a break and listen to others, learn from others, learn from your teammates. As a leader, you're supposed to be the one who is talking most of the time. In fact, as a leader, you should be the one who is speaking less and give your team members a chance so that you can learn from them. Even if you are a leader, there is someone who's probably smarter than you. And you should not shy away from getting ideas from that particular person. you need to understand that whatever that I'm learning from that person is meant for the greater good of whatever organization you're working for. So you can only be able to gain those valuable insights when you are allowing somebody else to speak. It's like when hello, yes. And then one key thing that we need to understand from an early age meaning is when it comes to communication, for you as a leader, body language matters and lots. You cannot afford to be sitting in a board meeting. You cannot afford to be rolling your eyes when you're communicating with someone. These are things that some of you would assume that basics. It's a basic knowledge for everyone, but it's not. I used to assume or think those were basics that are known by everyone. But I've been the MD for the company for 6-7 years now. So through my position, I got to understand that some of the things that we often think are basics, basic knowledge, are not really basic. You would be shocked. So you need to master public speaking as early as now. And trust me, it's not something that happens overnight. You need to practice. You need to practice and practice every day if need be. People usually say leaders are born. I don't believe in that. I believe you become a leader through learning, through practice, and this is the time for you to be learning. You cannot afford to graduate and then public speaking. You need to start learning public speaking now. You need to start learning how to communicate now. These presentations that you guys do in classes are meant to sort of equip you on how to communicate, on how to articulate your visions. Okay? Yes. And then the other key thing, when it comes to professional growth. We have a lot of events that we often attend as young people. You would budget for, you would spend on tickets, you spend on beverages, R&B on the lawn, but these are events that you pay for. When someone organizes an event that is meant to empower you, or that is meant to help you learn something that is contributing to your personal growth, and the event is free, you would be shocked to learn that people do not turn up. This is an opportunity that is meant to sort of equip you, but you're not taking advantage of that. I'm trying to show you that we do not believe in taking opportunities that are presented to us, to equip our professional growth. You need to be able to take advantage of those. You need to be able to understand that these platforms that are provided are meant to contribute to our professional growth. Okay? Yes. You demand about 15 minutes or more. I don't know. Yes. But in closing, what I want to say to you, I want to remind you that communication, effective communication, is very critical in leadership. Effective communication is the solid foundation for leadership. You need to be able to master the art of communication. You need to be able to master the skill of communicating and practice as much as possible to be able to communicate effectively. You need to start as early as now, even though you still haven't started. And for those of you that have started practicing effective communication, you need to keep practicing, because you can never say, I've mastered the art of communication. You need to continue practicing. So may we all find our voices, may we all speak with confidence, and may we inspire the world. Thank you.
Yes. So, she was giving a presentation on effective communication and also personal growth. So from here, I believe we're going to see a change there and there. as we approach the SRC 1, 2, 3. Right? Yeah, representative. But anyway, let me take this time to call Mr. Priga Abuderi Muyenga, I hope I said it right, our current abused resident assistant chairperson. So the floor is yours. Say.
Wonderful and beautiful morning to everyone. Mine is a very simple and hectic task to come and introduce someone of a very high caliber. So by definition, my name is Preka Abderi Muyenga Marufu. Many people say, what does it mean? But yes, that is my initials. First, let me appreciate the presence of our guest speaker, our Dean of Student Life, our Governance Office, our SRC Cabinet, and the very most important person of the day, that is you guys, right? Yeah, let me appreciate and welcome you. So my duty is to come and introduce Dr. Labani. Hopefully Dr. Labani is a woman of many streams and diverse portfolio. She's a doctorate graduate from the Australian Institute of Bioengineering and Nanotech. She studied, she did a research that is on, let me just read it, how about we say? She did a research on the page display and antibody engineering technology to develop a highly sensitive diagnostic assay for dengue virus infection. So that is her doctorate research. So the good thing is that Dr. Labani is not just an educator and a researcher, she's also a steward for women in STEM. Dr. Labani is also the advocate for workers' rights in BUST. Wow. Dr. Labani is a wonderful woman, and we are saying that the most important and shocking issue, she's a super mom. So besides a hectic schedule, she go home and relaxes with the young ones. So I like that. She's also a tireless trade unionist. She's a woman that has found her voice in the empowerment of people. And then today, because of our thing, which is we are igniting the mic in order to find our voice, speak with confidence, and inspire the world. So it's your time and your opportunity to learn from Dr. Labani, so that as an individual, you also find your voice, speak with confidence, and inspire the world. Help me welcome Dr. Labani, one of our very own lecturers.
Acknowledge everyone who's already been acknowledged and right on the protocols that have already been advanced. Let me know if you can't hear me clearly from the back. So as has already been mentioned, my name is Kebaneilwe Labani. So even when I'm standing here, as I used to teach biology 101, I tell most people to just call me Keba. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't know, I'm not someone who is so keen on titles and all of these things. I get to do a wide array of things, and it's really important for me to relate to everyone as I come across them. So I'd like to thank you for the invitation to be here today, to speak on finding your voice, having confidence, and inspiring the world. And I took some time to respond to the invitation. Saturdays are a very precious day for me. As I've already said, I have a daughter. On Saturdays, she plays tennis and she plays chess, and I'm playing chauffeur, taking her to activities. And today was the first day that Lewis Hamilton was doing his practice run as a driver for Ferrari for the first time. Those of you who know me know that I'm an avid Formula One fanatic. So, it's like, should I just rest? Should I go and do this? But students are really an important part of the people who are in my sphere of influence. I think today we heard about people who are leaders being called to service. So when you ask for my time, I will make a plan to make sure that I'm here to engage with you. So thank you for having me here, and I've been asked to speak on being persuasive, having influence, having impact, and affirming authority. So when I was asked to provide a biography about myself, I just had to pick key issues that would display that I get to communicate at different levels and for different purposes at all times. So when we talk about persuasive speaking, as has already been mentioned, I'm a trade unionist. So I'm someone who advocates for the rights of other people within the university, particularly workers here. So if we feel that we are not being served to the best of the university's abilities, to ensure that our output is at the level that it should be at, you have people like me who go and negotiate with management to say, you could be doing this and this and that better. Because when you treat your workers well, you get more out of them, right? So I'm there to try to persuade them. Some things will be a right that workers must be given, but other things will be issues of interest. So we say to them, can you please, work with us to try to offer this to your employees. When your employees are happier, your students will be happier, the university will have better outcomes. In terms of influence, I am a role model for some students who would like to, pursue interests that are similar to mine. So I am there to serve as somewhat of a fountain of knowledge for them. They come to me and tell me where their dreams lie, and I see how best to help them achieve their individual pursuits. In terms of impact, I am a scientist, so I work as an educator, I work as a researcher. So it is important as a scientist or an engineer to find a field where you can have impact, things that matter to people. So my research is mostly on the evolution of pathogens. So pathogens are like microorganisms that cause disease. So my work is in seeing how those microorganisms are going to evolve in order for them to survive. Their survival often means that we may miss out on the ability to detect them, or our bodies may not have the ability to get rid of them. So we look at how pathogens evolve in order to ensure that our diagnostic tests are working and that our medications and also our vaccinations are effective. In terms of authority, I'm a super mom, but I also have to play, the role of authority in being a parent to someone that I have to lead. But as has already been said, when you are the leader of this home, you are not going to be bulldozing people, right? So even though I'm speaking to an 8-year-old, how do I affirm my authority, but also allow this young girl to be what she wants to be, and also feel that she has an opinion within the home? Yeah? So I have to communicate at different levels to suit different purposes. So communication, what is it? It's a process of conveying information or your thoughts or your feelings, and it can happen in different ways, whether it is verbal or non-verbal, it can be written, it can be visual, it can be in your mannerisms as well. We talked about how your non-verbal cues can sort of off-put people, even if you are making a presentation. Someone is sort of giving you a look and scrunching their forehead. That can throw you off, because then you wonder if this person sincerely doesn't understand or they're trying to off-put you. But something that is important about communicating and communicating effectively is that you have to know who your audience is. Yeah? And we've touched on some of these things. Sometimes you may have what we call a combative audience. Yeah? Particularly for people who go and present at conferences, you can have people that everyone notoriously knows that this person is going to ask a question to try to make speakers feel like they don't know what they're doing. And there's different skills that you can take on board to try to get around that. The manner in which you present your work to disarm such people. You can present your work to say, this is a work in progress. We're still looking out for ideas on how we can improve X, Y, Z, so that when this person asks their question, they can then seem like they're being constructed. Yeah? But when you approach something from a point of authority, I am Kebaneilwe and I know everything about foot and mouth disease virus. This person is going to look for a chink in your armor and come up with a question to show everyone else that you are not the authority. Yeah? But when you disarm people by making them feel included, to say, these are things that we're doing as a community, let us help each other, you know, what ideas do people have, this is what we've done so far. So that sort of neutralizes the energy. You also have to know what your setting is. When I'm writing for a scientific journal, the language that I use is very different to when I'm speaking at a conference or trying to teach the same concept to maybe first or second year level students. Yeah? So you have to adjust the words that you use. What is your intent? Yeah? Do you want to just convey information? Are you looking for collaborators? Or do you just want people to enjoy something different to the type of content that they would ordinarily consume? And just have a conversation with people about pathogens where they might not necessarily speak about it because it is something that is of topical concern. So as was mentioned at the beginning, all of you are in this transitionary state. You're not going to be students here forever. So you have to think what you would like to use your voice for. Right?
Hello again. Actually, this question is much more of a personal one. I'm assuming like you have to start somewhere, like public speaking. So I'm assuming nervousness. There are a lot of nerves involved with public speaking. Low self-esteem, low confidence, and everything. So I actually have like a few of exercises that I actually do, but I'm not gonna say they are very, very effective. They are working for me a little bit. So my question was like, what exercises or what can you recommend for a person who's still dealing with that kind of nervousness, the nerves, you know, like what do you recommend for them to do that will help them to overcome the nervousness and to be able to actually relay their messages without the nerves coming in the way?
This is a difficult one to respond to because I still get very nervous. I was saying here when I arrived that considering what I do for a job, it's quite strange that I actually can suffer from really bad panic attacks when I have to do some public speaking. But you know, one of the things that was already mentioned by Kaelo is preparation. You know, becoming an expert in what you want to talk about. Also take up opportunities that are meaningful to you. Don't just take speaking engagements for the sake of speaking engagements. Because when you start practicing from a point of things that are relatable to you, it will be a bit easy. But sometimes I will be in front of a panel of people and I feel like I'm going to throw up, my throat is drying, it's time to go on, my voice is shaking. I'll take the time to just say to people that I'm a little bit nervous. My voice is going to take a bit of time to stabilize, but please hang there with me. Sometimes you can sort of put in a joke if it is appropriate, and then you'll be able to get going. But you can buy yourself a little bit of time to help you feel a bit confident in the beginning. But I don't think there's anything greater, really, than preparing as much as you can.
Thank you very much. Guys, time. I see the hands.
It's good. They can come and see me after.
Yes, I think there's a networking session somewhere in the program. You're very welcome to go check it. We're going to move on to the entertainment part. But Labani, before you sit, am I allowed to ask her a question? It'll help you in the next, it's public speaking, right? We are on the topic of public speaking. This one is a comment. It is important that you know what kind of speaker you are, yeah? there are some things which you can't speak at. Personally, I cannot MC an entertainment event. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's not my style. I don't know how to. I don't. And when I speak, I'm not speaking right now. I'm MCing. When I speak, I am more of an emotional speaker. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not emotional, but I channel my emotions. I think for me, it was a way of coping. You know, I had some issues in my past. So instead of letting that eat me, I decided to channel them. Maybe that's what I do best in debating. I decide to channel them, and I relate. I'm a relator, I'm a channeler. So I see emotions and I channel it. If you all are very happy, I'm going to channel that, I'm going to use that. And also, yeah, channeling. Should keep that in mind. It will help you also with that question where people are laughing. Imagine you're speaking, they're booing you. Do you just continue to speak and ignore them? That's not intelligence, emotional intelligence. What you do is you probably address what they're doing at. Perhaps it's something you said, you go back to it like, oh yeah, or it's maybe the way you make a joke out of it. Channel. If they're very serious, try to be serious or wake them up. I don't know, just see what is happening. My comment being impromptu, sometimes you can prepare a whole speech and be like ready. But then you actually see what this is not what they need. Right. But you did like a whole month of research. You get to the place, you realize this is not what they need to hear. So can you touch the part of being impromptu, being able to think on the spot or change your speech on the spot?
Yeah. I think with speaking, you need to be adaptable. You need to be able to pivot where necessary. I think a lot of people do speak from their notes and they write a full speech. Other people may just have key points that are going to lead them, as I did today. Other people may just decide to speak from the heart. But I think each time you just need to be conscious of what your audience needs. And, I don't think that it is necessarily a bad thing to not go off a script. Yeah, so it should be something that you're always ready to do, because I know people who bring tablets and then the tablet goes missing and then it's a disaster. The whole thing falls apart. I think that is also something that is critical to preparation, but also listening to what other speakers are saying allows you to sort of bounce off the thematic ideas that are coming from the discussions. So you should be able to pivot, and you should be able to allow yourself to be relatable to your audience at all times. Cool? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Labani, for the presentation. And again, what I want to highlight, I hope you heard Dr. Labani highlighting the idea of poetry, right? So what I'm happy right now for is that next online I'll be calling upon a poet to give us, at least a way of communication. So, Madam Patsimora Masu,
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Yes. So please allow me to write out the protocol that was said at the beginning of this event. And to our guests, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I think as science and engineering students, we tend to ignore or disregard or pay little attention to our soft skills. So I'm really, really thankful for the event. So they said a handful of things, right? Things that are very encouraging, that are very insightful, right? So one thing they mentioned is how we need to find our voices, right? We need to recognize the flame that is inside us, fuel it, and then ignite the mic, right? So my poem, I'm sure some of you guys have heard it already, but my poem is a really personal one, and it's basically focuses on recognizing your flame. It's like a confidence booster to kind of thing, or give motivation, or so I really hope it encourages you as much as it encourages me. Oh yeah, I forgot to introduce. So I'm not here alone. I'm with Ashley on the guitar. So yeah. To the writer of this poem, I'm sick and tired of you. Sick and tired of the fact that you're unconfident about you. It seems like you want to be everyone else but you. But if only you knew the power of your presence gracing this universe, you would know that you are special. Because even with all the bits pieces, the Master still chose you. To give you a fraction of his heart and his eyes and his words, so you're not only a master's piece, you are a masterpiece. You are special. Your smile and radiant heart, wear your smile like a crown because Otemani ate it. So speak with the accent of authority. Walk with your head held high, because with every footstep, with every footprint, you are leaving traces of heaven behind. You are royalty. Formed by the hands of glory himself, your heartbeat and ululation of triumphant ancestors gazing at your sight that smiles. And amen to the answered prayers. You are exactly what they prayed for. Because you bear the most beautiful image. You are beauty personified. Your eyes are a galaxy of hope, an invitation into heaven. Your face is a poem composed of love and nurture. Your laughter is a symphony orchestrated by angels. Your words are honey. They present God's heart to people. You are living proof that God is alive. But I understand that sometimes when it gets dark, these words become blurry and far-fetched. Who you were wrestles with who you've always been, and authenticity becomes a myth. You become afraid to look death in the eye and tell her that she is already defeated. But in this beautiful chaos, all I wish to hear you say is, as I grow up, I want to be me. Thank you.
That was a lot of talking. That brings us to the end of the content engagement. We are now going to have some form of entertainment from a guitarist. His name is Kealo. I'm presuming that's not Ashley.
Device.
What's that?